WNST every week, where I sit on Dr. Melfi's couch, and that's better known around here as Bill Cole from Cole Roofing and Pfister Energy. And I have to laugh because, as pre-prep, and Bill, you'll tell everyone, there's no green room here, right? Like, I never green room anyone. It's sort of 27 years, ask any guest. I don't like talking to my guests before I put them on the air. And I said, do you have anything you want to get into the show? And you said, well, only that I'm pretty sure we're going to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's an exciting time to talk about it.
Well, I mean, go ahead. I think everyone's a little taken aback. We've never had a year where, other than 06, right, where the team's been one of the really good teams because of the way the Patriots and the way the Steelers and the way the Broncos at various points have been constructed. It would be interesting to be the front runner. Like, I'm a little worried for the Red Sox this week as an example, right?
Yeah, I think that we know we'll have letdowns along the way. Like, we're not going undefeated, obviously, because we already lost. But
we're going to lose some stupid game to the Raiders or the Saints. Something bad's going to happen at some point, right?
But we are, I mean, if the guys announcing the game Sunday night didn't give you hope, like, they must have talked about Jimmy Smith coming back and having to put Brandon Carr on the bench, and, like, what a luxury that is.
See, I love hearing this because I didn't listen to the game, right? Like, I'm at the game, so right. I mean, I see the scuttlebutt a little bit on Twitter, and everybody hates Collinsworth. I mean, I get that, right?
Yeah, right.
But other than that, I would love to hear the praise heaped upon the Ravens when they're pitching a shutout in the second half at Heinz Field. I'd love to hear that.
Well, I think the comment about Brandon Carr was, I guess he has some kind of start streak going, and he's going to lose his job and lose this streak for no other reason than Jimmy Smith comes off suspension and is back to play. So, and it's like, yeah, but he's played so well, maybe there's a question mark as to whether that really happens, and ultimately that just turned into these guys, they're so deep, and I think that's really true.
Until a hamstring is pulled or something awful happens, I mean, you're always one play from Tyler Eifert, right? I mean, like, things in this league change very, very quickly. Same as pitching in baseball, right? The Indians were the best team a couple years ago until they didn't have 3 of their pitchers in October, right?
Sure. And I think what was different for us, which is immediately how you go from, well, I think we might be good to, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl, is when we're up 6, and I don't know how much time was left, but, maybe 7-8 minutes in the fourth, you're looking at it and you're like, I've seen this story before. They're going to come down, score a touchdown, and we're going to lose by 1. Like, I know exactly how this goes in Pittsburgh. We've been here. We've done that. And to just hold serve, I keep waiting for something to come out about Ben because he looked terrible. I mean, he was throwing the ball in the dirt. I've never seen a game where, maybe every now and then you see a quarterback try and pull back a throw and it gets loose. It happened 3 times, twice to Ben and once to Joe. That is just weird. I've never seen that happen so many times in a game.
Well, I think for Roethlisberger, the inaccuracy and the fact that he didn't come and cut your heart out or even really come close to it. I mean, dude, they weren't converting first downs. I mean, 2 for 12. That you're never going to win. I mean, you're going to need to block some punts or something, when you're 2 for 12. That was more where the Ravens offense was. But Joe Flacco didn't have Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster and those kinds of weapons. And, speaking of the Steelers and where they are, and I would agree that's, it's not your father's Steelers we saw there on Sunday night, and certainly the Le'Veon Bell thing, and now whether he's going to come back and whether he would be playing. They only play 3 more games before they see the Ravens again. They have a bye week in the middle of all of this on the 21st when we're playing. So we're going to end it with the Steelers. It's not like we're sitting around on New Year's Day waiting to play them again. We're going to see them again soon. And I really love the trajectory of where our football team is at a point where 3 in a row on the road, 4 out of 5 on the road, getting healthier, getting this mojo about a quarterback who has been maligned. Dude, Flacco came in and had 2 jokes in the press room before he got to the podium. And it was hysterical because if you know Joe, it's sort of dry. He came in and he was 4th in line to get into the press conference. Weddle's up there dancing around, talking about ice cream. Mosley's, looking at his red Crimson Tide braids. And then Harbaugh comes in and he's waiting. And Flacco's like 4th in line. He's like, I've been here 11 years. Like, what? Like kidding around. And then he went back, and then he came back. And when he came back, Harbaugh was talking about Lamar Jackson. And Flacco said, whoa, hold on. It's a primetime game. He's a first-round draft pick. You got to showcase him a little bit for national television. So, there's a tongue-in-cheek thing happening here with Flacco, and I think Flacco looks at these Lamar Jackson plays as sort of glorified handoffs, This is going to be our third down special back, and, oh, by the way, sort of kind of like Ray Rice or sort of kind of like anyone who can throw a pass. Hines Ward was a quarterback that when he gets the ball in his hands, he might throw it, he might run with it, he might do anything, but the one thing we can't do is turn the ball over. And, I think Flacco has embraced the Lamar Jackson part of this. Certainly, and along with that comes, hey, Joe, we got better wide receivers for you. And the O-line, and Flacco was emphatic about this in the postgame, it's the same five guys, right? So if you give me the same five guys and they're all at least healthy, credible, good enough to be starters in this league, and we're not slapping something together because we're the Cleveland Browns, then we would hope that in week 5 they're better than in week 1, that in week 12, even though there'll be mistakes, even though we're going to have blown assignments, we try to cut all that crap out, and by the time we get to Thanksgiving, we've got something special we can work with here, because there are no O-lines that stay together 3, 4, 5 years. 3, 4, 5 weeks is a long O-line in this league right now. But there's a lot of parts together. But to your point, good health has to be part of this. Good luck, good fortune,
I think Joe is embracing anything that keeps him upright. He's at the point in his career where the hits really start to take their whole and the season wears on.
Well, what difference does it make to him whether he has the ball or Lamar Jackson has the ball or Ray Rice has the ball or Justin Ford? I mean, in the end, it's his job to get the ball to somebody else. So I think he's embraced the Jackson thing a little bit more. And Luke and I have had this debate privately and publicly, but I think when you look up and Jackson's worth 50 to 75 yards a game, as that other guy, and Joe still looks like a guy who's worth $25 million a year, I don't think anybody's coming for Joe's job now.
No, I don't think so either. I totally agree. I think he sees it as a way for the offense to be dynamic, and it gives him advantages that he otherwise wouldn't have. So I think he's totally on board. Look, it can't be stated enough, Marty Mornhinweg is doing his job. He is grinding out creative things to do. I guess Lamar's part of that, but even beyond Lamar, because you were live, I don't know. I'm sure you've heard and seen the tight end unbalanced line in the middle of the line.
Oh, Max Williams. Yeah, we talked about that in the postgame. Yeah, Max lining up as a guard. Right.
So, and that is that's good stuff that usually you'll see.
But it has to be executed, though. Like Flacco said in the postgame, we've tried that before, but unless Max gets to the next level, the play doesn't work. And and hangs on long. That play has to have 5, 6, 7. It has to have that time built in, and it needs to be perfectly executed, like the Philly special. We're talking about that and won a Super Bowl, but that thing was practiced 100 times, and it had to go perfectly to work, and it did, right? So whenever that happens, when the execution, it's a good play call when it works. I'll just leave it at that, Bill, right?
Yeah, but just to have the creativity to make sure it's in the book, and John, to give us the time to practice it. I mean, you're dealing at a pretty deep level with all the stuff you're creating with Lamar and all the stuff that Marty's putting in. That's different, and I don't think you can't do that with a third-year Joe.
And all sort of, by the way, new guys, too, right? All the wide receivers are learning terminology. The tight ends, I mean, Mark Andrews is off the farm in Oklahoma. He's got to figure it out. And then there's guys like Max Williams that have been around a while, right? Nick Boyle, who's going to be with us, by the way, Wednesday night. Up in your part of the world, my friend. Can I plug my Wednesday night show? Is that cool to do that?
Yeah, go for it.
There goes my hero on Wednesday night. We got Nick Boyle because we're talking tight ends, and Willie Snead because we're talking about Ravens offense. We'll be swabbing for the Bone Marrow Red Shoe. We'll be at Buffalo Wild Wings at the festival in Bel Air. I want to get that in. But I just wanted to say, Skura is trying to learn how to be a center, right? Alex Lewis is trying to learn how to be a starter that's going to make it, let's not say 16 games this year. Let's talk about 18, 19, 20 games this year, right? So all of this is happening. And they have these running back. I mean, Buck knows the system. Collins knows the system a little better. So there is that point where, to your point, where you have to have the quarterback who knows what he's doing. Because right now, some of these guys, and maybe Trubisky or Jared Goff, some of these geniuses are figuring it out a little quicker. But I tell you what, the game's kind of moving fast for Josh Allen right now, right? And for Joe Flacco, and the game would be moving very fast for Lamar Jackson if he had to go in there, 85 snaps a week and try to do what Joe's doing right now. To your point, there's a comfort level for Joe here and a comfort level that these are professionals around him. And everybody's, hate to say Bill Belichick as I'm looking at Ian O'Connor's book here that I'm having Ian on, but do your job, right? Know your job, do your job, right? And that's obviously going on. And even to Harbaugh in the postgame to say, coaches are coaching well, and you brought that up, but the players aren't jumping off sides. We're not holding guys. We're not having stupid penalties. We're not in 1st and 20 much. So a lot of that goes into how this offense is working.
Well, I think Willie Snead is really interesting. He turns out to be this Anquan Bolden style, come to me when you need a tough 8 yards. So I love that. And then, again, credit to Joe, but again, Marty, like the new kick returner guy, I don't even know his name. He comes in and he catches a pass on a huge play, and he does it with like he's done it a million times.
And we looked up and it looks like that's Tim White. I'm like, that's 14. Look at that, right?
Right, like who caught that ball? Wait a second.
How many receivers do we have? Yeah, exactly. I'm looking for Clarence Moore to come off the bench or something like that, or DeVar Darling at this point. Bill Cole is here. He is with Cole Roofing and Pfister Energy. I've got the mug of power in there, powered up, of course, by Royal Farms. Real fresh, real fast. Always the Kona blend in the mug. And if for Justin Tucker, it's $1 right now. And by the way, I'm going to start singing some opera and wear the chicken suit for my friends over at Royal Farms. Billy, this whole thing with the Ravens and the knee and last year being a long time ago and the road right now, no one has to go to a game for 2 more weeks. I'm going to be in Nashville next week for my 50th birthday, but wouldn't it be something if they go 3 in a row on the road? And I expect them to win in Cleveland on Sunday, but I don't expect it to be easy. I don't know about Nashville. I don't know what whether that's a hornet's nest down there or not. They're playing better football, but if this team comes back with mojo at 6-1, or they could be 6-1, they could be 5-1, right? But if that's where it is, if this is a really good year, I know last year in Philadelphia was one of those kind of magical years for them where nothing went wrong all the way to the altar, right? But around here, if it starts to smell like 8-2 or 9-3, something that we haven't smelled around here in a long time, where would that fever pitch be, at a point where the knee, the politics, the election, in the middle of this, the guy in Washington I don't know that he could penetrate the NFL right now. I think he's got bigger problems, quite frankly. But through all of this, what would it mean for the city on the back end of the Orioles and Adam Jones and this goodbye? Do you think that this is re-embraceable in that fairy dust magic way? I'm wondering that out loud because it's sitting there. A win over Pittsburgh late on Sunday night early in the year. The weather is good. There's home cooking. We've got a quarterback that can play. I'm wondering whether the people believe and whether it ever gets purple tentish on every city here again.
I think we are right on the edge, even as early as it is. I mean, I heard nothing but people discussing going to Cleveland or going to Tennessee yesterday, and I think everyone in our town understands no matter how good Pittsburgh is. Which right now I think they're playing on reputation more than talent. But that's a tough game to go in there and win. And, when you go in there and win, that might just be the sort of the warning sign that this is going to be a good year. And all of a sudden, everybody's getting their caravans out, and we're heading west to go follow the boys. So,
well, when you'll find out when the StubHub tickets aren't $5 in the rain the way they were the first 2 games, literally, right?
Sure.
The first 2 games, nobody came. I mean, I was there. I was there in my raincoat. And I said it looks a little bit like a pride convention because people don't even wear purple raincoats. They wear red and green and blue and pink and yellow and white. And, I mean, it was just it looked like all the colors. It looked like a Skittles bag for crying out loud. And I wonder when that gets purple and serious again. And you know what really inspired this, Billy? And I know you know, Saturday night, did you put the Penn State game on, man?
I did.
It was insane, right? Like, my wife looked up and she's like, dude, they play in Pittsburgh tomorrow? Why aren't you at the Penn State game tonight? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe because I'm getting old and I've already been there once, but the night I was there, it didn't look like that. I mean, that looked like it was kind of like fun, probably the same way you watched hockey back in the spring, even if you didn't go to a game and say, well, that looks like the party was on there. I see why people are paying a lot of money to go see that. And I'm wondering when the Ravens become that again, because it was that way for a long. You know, I mean, come on, man. You threw the parties down in your lot down there across, and you know you can't get a ticket. It's $125 to get in because you know the Cowboys are in town or whatever. I don't know how quickly it can ramp back to that, or if it'll ramp back to that, but the team's good enough. I mean, if your bitching was, Joe Flacco, he ain't no good in the offense, and they're boring, and they don't win, and, you know, all that stuff I heard last year, in addition to the knee, you know, when do you get back on the train?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the team is exciting. They're scoring points. You know, you're not just doing it one way. So if the defense is good, everybody can do our typical Baltimore rally because we love to play defense. I don't know. I think that's a really interesting question because there's a chance that the people that drove all that fervor are now older, and maybe it never comes back like that. Like, I don't know that I'm going to be any more motivated to go down there and have a big tailgate. I think I'm excited to watch, and I think I'm excited to, you know, talk about it, and I might be thinking about making some travel plans. I mean, I'm definitely going out to Nashville, so, you know.
You're going to be there to celebrate my 50th birthday with me, Bill Cole.
Of course. I would never miss that, you know.
Well, now it's on. I mean, there might not be radio on the 15th, to be honest with you, you know. I mean, I am wondering how that's all going to go down next week. Bill Cole's here from Cole Roofing and Pfister Energy. They've only been doing it for 99 years. We've been friends for not quite 99, but at least 9.9. Bill, tell everybody what you do with Cole Roofing and how it sort of works with WNST, because I'll be honest with you, we've signed up so many new sponsors here in the last couple of weeks, and I'm wearing my Strategic Factory shirt. That's on this side. It's right, left. I'm getting my right and my left mixed up. And they're partners with us now. I got my Free the Birds hat on, dude, and Tommy Lavero is rumoring down in D.C. that the Orioles are going to get sold this offseason. So, you know, hope is alive into the second century.
Right.
That there might be a World Series for us here as well. But I know you've been doing this a long time, and you're out on roofs right now around the city and trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah, well, we're just excited that it stopped raining and we can actually do our job for a little bit. We're almost a 100-year-old commercial roofer, been taking care of the commercial roofs in the Baltimore area, everything from, you know, a small leak all the way up to roof replacements, new construction buildings, and everything in between. We started about 10 years ago putting solar panels up on roofs, under the idea that if we build the roof right, we can then feel comfortable to build a power plant on top of that, and maybe there's a way to cut that umbilical cord to BGE, and you don't have to pay them anymore. You can create your own power. So,
by the way, every time you say solar panel, I think of the Man with the Golden Gun and James Bond, and the little solar panel in Phuket that rose up with Nick Nack and Ricardo. It wasn't Ricardo Montalban. It was I don't know. But either way, Christopher Lee is who it was, the Man with the Golden Gun. So that's the first time I saw a solar panel was in 1973. And I can't believe, like, you know, I saw it at the Highway Movie Theater in Essex. I was telling my wife about it down in Hawthorne the other day, right past the House Seafood. And, you know, I can't believe that they're on roofs. And I see them everywhere now, right? I mean, you know, if you were to have a helicopter and just look around, you will see these glistening up and saving people money. And this is the way. By the way, I got onto the plane to Pittsburgh, and a dude had the back. I had my Strategic Factory on the back of his thing. It said, "Make Cole great again." And I thought, ay. But anyway, that's another story altogether.
Yeah, look, I take a very simple thought process to this. There is a nuclear reactor in the sky that comes up every day and has the ability to dry up puddles of water. I don't think it's very responsible of us to not at least attempt to use it. So I'm proud that we're helping people do that. I think it makes a ton of sense. If you could create power on your roof and use it inside your building, that seems to make, a whole lot of sense for me. So we are happy to explain to everyone how the economics work, to make sure that it makes sense for them, and see if we can't figure out a way to do that. So.
All right. Well, there you have it. Bill Cole, you can find him on LinkedIn. You can throw me an email. We'll find you, Bill Cole, and he's in my coffee cup most mornings around here when the Royal Farms coffee's in there as well. All right, dude, Orioles. We can praise the Ravens, but I'm not giving up yet on the Orioles, and I'm wearing my Free the Birds hat because, quite frankly, I just feel like it right now. Because I'm not pissed off anymore, right? Like, I jumped the river of doubt. 12 years ago was Free the Birds, and it was print shirts up, and let's go storm the castle. And, maybe that's me at 38 and different than me drinking whiskey with you at 50 next week. I don't know. But, much like the city, and I talk about, someone needs to be mayor here who actually leads people and changes things. And I walk past the statue of Mayor Schaefer. I'll still call him Mayor Schaefer, Governor Schaefer, whatever you want to say, or the stadium itself, which single-handedly he got built, and the Ravens, which single-handedly he kept sort of alive, the vision of what the Kiss Bird would look like around here. For the Orioles, I don't know, but I know Adam Jones did his bye-bye, and we all boo-hooed, and he'll go make his money, and I don't know if there'll ever be a statue to him here and Buck and all that, but now they go into the deep darkness, right? There's no more embarrassing losses. There's no more relief pitchers that we put on. There's no more excuses that Mike Bordick or Rick Dempsey or Jim Palmer need to make. And what happens now, bro? Like, wait, what happens that gets our attention in a year when the Ravens, I'll just say it out loud, might go to the Super Bowl, right? They might. They're one of 6 or 8 teams that might go to the Super Bowl. They're pretty good, and they're interesting. How do the Orioles get my attention? Or not my attention. I sit here and talk about it all day, but, how do they get anybody's attention?
When is Midnight Madness?
Moonlight Madness.
No, midnight. When do the Terps start playing basketball?
Oh, okay.
And if you need a second sport to talk about, well, we can come up with something.
Hold on a minute. Did you ever attend Moonlight Madness? Does that mean anything to you when I say Moonlight Madness?
No.
How old were you in 92, 3, 4, 5, 6, in that range? What was your age? I
was in high school.
All right. So I went on the radio in 91. Stadium happened in 92. And it was, completely sold out. You know that. You have memories of all that.
Sure.
They did an event every year before Christmas. And this is during the, Lucchino, Steinberg, Janet Marie, Marty Conway, my dear friend. This was during their era, right? And they would open the stadium, the club level. Anyone could go on the club level then, You didn't have to have a club ticket. Santa Claus was there. Elrod dressed like Santa Claus. They did stuff for Hopkins. There were, Billy, I'm not lying, 15, 20,000 fans that would come down for that on a cold night and buy Christmas gifts like you would at Hershey Park, right? And it was when they put the tickets on sale for opening day the next year.
Wow.
And I was a part of this for a handful of years. Can you imagine in Baltimore?
Sounds like fun. Yeah. It was a good idea.
Well, it's when the Orioles were, as a brand, reached the soul of this community. They were a love mark, as my Saatchi and Chachi friend. You want to Google something? Google love mark and Saatchi and read up on that. When your brand is so loved and so respected, Cal Ripken, right? So loved and so respected that, that people will come out in the middle of winter and get cold to buy your opening day tickets because that's who you are. And that's who the Orioles were here. They're not that anymore.
Right, but you could still pull it off, and the difference is that the vendors who are there that are attempting to sell their stuff, because of social media, have their own set of following now, all their followers, and people will come to support the local vendors that they know and love, and if you filled the club level with the right type of vendors.
How about this? Orange Christmas, Orange Holiday, Orange Winter, well, not Carnival, the summer's the Carnival.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I would say bizarre. No, it's already bizarre. Hold on. Let me come up with another word.
Bizarre's a good one. I like bizarre.
Well, I remember when Kenilworth was bizarre. Now it's not anymore. Now it's just the mall. Now it's just the shops. But, I mean, for the Orioles, I don't know where they go from pissing on Adam Jones, kicking Buck Showalter out the door, and keeping Dan Duquette, and having Brady Anderson work somewhere, in the seams of all. What are they going to do?
Yeah, they gotta. We're in limbo until the ownership gets sorted out. Like no one, I don't think anyone can step up and talk about how they're running the team or what the plan for the team is, because I'm not sure that Major League Baseball doesn't have an opinion about who it is that's about to say that. So I think we're in limbo, and I don't think there's a whole lot that can be done about it. And I don't think anybody's going to go in there and start a whole new concept and plan and strategize and do all the stuff, knowing that the rug might be pulled out from under them, at any time. So I think you're in limbo, buddy.
They're playing in Puerto Rico without playing in Puerto Rico. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
Well, like the Expos were in limbo, No one really wanted to work there.
Example.
They were sort of going to be owned by the league, but not. Right. And, no one wanted to work for the Mets when they were going broke, right? All right, man. Well, Call Roofing, Pfister Energy, they've been doing it 99 years. Bill has been doing a pretty good job. How's it going as my therapist? How's that working out for you?
I have to then leave this conversation and go have my own conversation to get all that stuff out of me. So it's really just a vicious circle of therapy. I take on your stuff.
Dude, this is your chance to vent though, man. Come on. This is your chance to vent too. Get it out. Let it out.
No, I'm happy now. I can't stand late Sunday night games like that. That messes with my routine and things like that. Let's just play. All right,
I'm going to make you an open-ended offer.
Happy man.
I'm going to make you an open-ended offer right now. If you want to ditch the weekend, the wife and the kids, and come out to Cleveland with me, all right? I know it sounds romantic, but we'll jump in the car, go to the big house, and watch the Terps play this weekend, man. I'll do that with you.
All right.
Yeah.
That would be fun. I don't know how I could pull that off, but that sounds fun.
How about this? We'll do beers for my 50th birthday in Nashville next week. How about that?
A deal. I can do that.
Cole Roofing. Bill Cole is our guest. You can find him at Cole Roofing and Pfister Energy. Bill, good day, relax, and all will be fine as long as we're 4-1 on Monday.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Thanks.
There he goes. You can find that and all of our work here in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device. My Facebook Live was a little wonky on Monday, so all the stuff's now up on YouTube as well as on Facebook. So I appreciate those of you who reached to me on the delay. I think it's functioning. All of our work here brought to you by Sporticulture. I got these beautiful new flowers. My wife says they're pansies. I had to look them up on the internet to figure out what they were, but they are beautiful. And they look at that purple. Look at that. I got to get that on the camera. That's pretty good stuff there. Anyway, Sporticulture's here. You can ship these. They're wonderful. They smell nice. My cat's trying to eat them. I think these are safe though. My thanks to Court and everybody over at Sporticulture for making that happen. Go see them. We got so many new sponsors. The Model Lyric. I want to shout them all out. Charles Newsonoff and Sons and my friend Sydney. The Lee Tessier team, selling my condo. Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast. The Maryland Jockey Club, of course, bringing the morning newspaper your way each and every morning at 7 a.m. And they got the Maryland Million down there on the 20th. Our friends at Strategic Factory, I got to go to the right side of that, who print things like this and signs and all sorts of stuff and do marketing concepts. Find them at Strategic Factory. And don't forget Buffalo Wild Wings in Bel Air, where we'll be swabbing for the Bone Marrow Registry along with Carl Delmont and our friends at Fremont Mortgage. That's at 7:30 on Wednesday night. Come meet Willie Snead. Come meet Nick Boyle. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about animals. Nick doesn't know that, but I'm going to talk about his dog and our cat because of the Show Your Soft Side posters that he's done. So some good work and some good messaging. We'll be in Bel Air with the 3-1 Baltimore Ravens of Willie Snead and Nick Boyle on Wednesday night. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.